Are we live? I think we are live. Hello, people. We are live. I always double check that before I do anything. Rightio. For a minute, I didn't think I was going to stream today due to PC problems, which has caused me stressed all morning, especially with an Ethernet port. But we're here. We're survived. We are alive and live on Twitch for the MotoGP Italian Grand Prix. If anyone isn't aware, but I'm sure you are, if you're in this call or in this chat, sorry, you know exactly what's happening. Boss, show me the live timing. Now, once again, I always say this the same thing. Anyone who's been here before for a MotoGP stream knows my feelings on this awful timing system. And like I said yesterday, if MotoGP want to come up to the Formula 1 levels of like fan interaction, improve your timing system, because it's very, very bad. So yes, I got to once again try and time the little dots with the stream I'm watching, which is not easy. It's not as easy as it sounds. The Formula 1 bang, pause and play, off you go. This one, no, there's delays to everything. So once again, bear with me for that from the start of the race. You might see a few dots move before I've actually commentated that this race has actually officially started. One more thing you're going to see, let's see if it works. Bosh, there you go. There's the cam. Funny getting that set up effectively, but there it is once again, as we did yesterday and as we did in the live stream. We do have a face cam now. I don't like looking at the camera though when I talk, especially when I'm commentating. If anyone wondering where I will be looking, up here I've got one screen with the stream on, this screen on my right, or I've got a wide screen, but this part here has got the stream of actually what we're doing, and this one's got the live timing. So you're going to see my eyes dart from left, right and centre and everywhere else, especially when the race is on, to try and keep up with what's happening. But if he was here yesterday, anyone knows the results was Ralph Fernandez was winning the sprint race yesterday for his first sprint win, which I found out. I didn't know that. I thought he'd won one previously, but apparently not. But he did control it, and he kind of made me fear for the actual race itself, bearing on the pace that was shown yesterday. At the top four, which ended in the end being the likes of Fernandez, and it was Bezzecchi, then DiGi Antonio. Hello, Pav. DiGi Antonio, and who came fourth yesterday? Made it in time, you did indeed. Who came fourth yesterday? I don't remember. No, Bezzecchi was fourth. Martin was second, sorry. What do you mean my mic's not on? My mic is on. I heard myself, I think. Yeah, my mic is on. Your mic audio is your PC mic? I don't think you're correct. I mean, is that better for you, Pav? Sometimes at the morning if it did go straight to that. Now it's on. It was on the whole time, mate. I don't know what happened there. Hello, Scott. Just realised you're here. Yes, as I was saying, yesterday we had Ralph Fernandez win ahead of Martin, who was second, DiGi Antonio third, and Bezzecchi was fourth. The problem is they all showed the same pace, which I always find concerning on the sprint race when you have the gaps at the same about 1.5 and 2 seconds each, because it does also show that maybe the race is going to be quite dull. So I might get bored. I think your background suppression was on. Oh, God knows. If it's fine now, that's sweet. Marc Marquez was fifth. Now, he did lead into turn one. He does start fourth in his return from surgery and injury, but he did lead into turn one yesterday, and then quickly got bullied down and finished fifth. So I don't expect him to be higher than that today. But I do have a sneaky feeling this race is going to be a little bit dull. So I might need entertainment from you lot. I watched a bit of the sprint, was fairly interesting. Cal Crutchlow in the top 10. Listen, we're gonna have a Cal watch. You know, normally I do the Yamaha watch for seeing how bad they're doing. We're gonna have a Crutchlow watch. We're gonna have to keep. I guarantee this little white dot here is Crutchlow himself. Did you speak about Bez's start yesterday? The thing is, Bez's launch wasn't bad. This is my first time watching MotoGP. Origami Yoda 84. Welcome to the world of MotoGP. MotoGP for me is the best racing series on the planet. I used to tie it up with Formula 1. And now I don't, because Formula 1 is absolutely dreadful. Cal Crutchlow, world champion. Yeah, he can be. We're going to do a Crutchlow watch. If he stays on the bike, then that's a win in my eyes for Cal. What did I say about Bezzecchi's start? Bezzecchi's launch wasn't bad yesterday. The problem with Bezzecchi's start was he was in the middle as they went down to turn one. Now, if you listen to the podcast from the other day, which came out on Friday morning, I did a very detailed and very good description of the Mugello actual circuit. And the way turn 1 is, they come up the bump and then down at high speed, whether it's from the start line or even from the last corner. You're coming into turn 1 fast anyway. And he was in the middle. He had 2 to the left of him. No, sorry, 1 to the left of him. He had either Martin or Fernandez to the left of him, and then 1 to the right of him. And then suddenly you had Marquez on the brakes later than everyone, come even further than the inside. So he ended up being the safe option, which dropped him from the lead to about 4th, I think it was. I think it was 4th. And that's what happens in this sport when you brake early, when you hesitate, you drop down to 4th. And that's actually what cost him, because of the pace of the ones in front. He was never going to close that gap back up. DiGi Antonio did recover to 3rd. He started 7th now. He had a poor qualifying condition. He led the other sessions. But he actually got 40 straight up to 3rd. But then I did guess, and I did estimate to everyone who was in the stream yesterday. I keep calling it a call, like it's on Discord. Stream yesterday, that he won't close the gap to the top 2, because they're all match the same pace, and the gap kind of stayed around the same, which slightly scares me for today. It's not that, well, I say it's not that warm, it's 28 degrees there, so we're not going to have a temperature problem with following, but I do fear the pace of the ones that they're all going to be the same. Come on, green predictions. Scott, I know you're going to say Cal Crutch, their world champion. I'm still waiting for I love the bit they do the whole special F1 intro soon, where you look at all the riders and all the championship order. It makes MotoGP feel so special. But yes, for the ones who said, origami, like you said, you've never seen MotoGP before, I would recommend MotoGP to anyone. DiGi, I found out DiGi really splits opinion in the fan base. A lot of Italians like him, and I found out a lot of people do not like DiGi Antonio. I feel like it's a lot of Marquez, the hardcore Marquez fans, that don't like DiGi Antonio, because he's one of those where he'll openly say he targets people like Mark at the track. I don't think he means it disrespectfully. I mean, he means it as his target, because Mark is, in my opinion, the greatest of all time. But he really splits the fan base, which I find interesting. He's changed the bit, the bit on the bum, on the levers, where it has the names, like Rossi had the Doctor. DiGi's changed his to, like, the Wolf 49. And I think it looks a bit cheap, to be honest, but, Hello, Father. Martin or Bez? So, yeah, an Aprilia. Yeah, you might as well throw Fernandez in there as well. I just think it'll be an Aprilia. If DiGi can get out of turn 1 and into turn 2 and 3 in the top 4, then he might have a chance. But if what happens in the open laps, if the Aprilias pull away, I don't think he's closing in on them. I don't think he'll stand a chance closing on them, to be honest, because the Aprilia's too good. They are just speaking about Martin on Friday, or Saturday morning, setting the top speed record MotoGP for 229 miles per hour. I heard you think Mantel's the greatest of all time. My dad's going to bite that. He doesn't... Okay. That's been Dan the Williams, man. Are we actually talking about Nigel Mansell right now in a MotoGP stream? That's not the name I expected to be brought up in this stream today. And no, the stream from yesterday is not uploaded to YouTube yet, because I said I've had some PC problems with the Ethernet, so I haven't actually been connected to the internet. You need help. But hopefully either today and tomorrow, the 2 streams from this weekend will be up on the Apex to Apex YouTube channel. Severe help. Dustbin Dan the Williams, man. It's one of the best nicknames for a driver that of all time, is Dustbin Dan the Williams, man. I can't believe we're talking about him on a MotoGP stream. But I'm waiting for the fabulous Susie Perry to move off the grid so we can start the actual race. I reckon, my prediction would be someone in the third 2 rows is going to light up, which means you're going to see the front jump on launch, because it's happening more and more now. There is a rumour and there is a talk that apparently they could ban the whole shot devices or the ride height devices sooner than the start of next year, and maybe this year, which I bloody hope so, because I don't like them at all, especially from the start. And that conversation has been started from the Zarco crash when his leg got trapped. So I reckon that's a great move. Get rid of them. We don't need them. There's enough air and electronics on these bikes anyway. We really do not need the ride height devices. I also said yesterday I would fear following a KTM right down this straight and down the main straight, down this track, because they keep cutting out at high speed. And that's what caused the Alex Marquez crash. Binder's cut out a few times already this weekend, so I would not want to be following them going onto that main straight. Low-key want another Fernandez win. I mean, I can see it. The thing is, the only interesting thing in the sprint race to the race is They're running, obviously they run softer tyres, they can, because they're running less fuel on the sprint race. Fernandez was clearly the quickest on lower fuel. I don't know who's the quickest on heavy fuel. So Fernandez will probably be fast in the last 10 laps. But the 14 laps before that, I don't know. I can still see Bezzecchi doing it, to be honest. He set a 43.9 in qualifying. Also, I like his Alex Zanardi helmet. It's very retro. Should we all just pack up and go to Mugello next year? I want to go. If anyone who knows we laugh at Cal Crutchlow, but anyone who knows the Top Rack talk, Top Rack is starting 20th on the, not the back row, because Crutchlow's on the back row on his own, but the second to back row in the middle of it. So, you thought about doing a green screen setup for your stream? Once I have room, and your dad, I know you'd go, because I'm hoping you pay for mine. Once I have room and leave my mum home, she'll probably come along. Yeah, once I have room around here, or in somewhere else, then yes. But at the minute, I just don't have room for it. None at all. And it'd look weird if I just kept the green screen here. I could pull the little projector screen I have down to cover the sun, but then you can't see my hairline shine in the sun. Get one that hooks your chair. Yeah, but behind this chair, there's literally no room, as the bed is here. So, I ain't got no room for that one at the minute, mate. The crowd, obviously, in Mugello is full. I'm just looking on the stream. Obviously, I've noticed the flares are coming back as well, which I'm a big fan of. I loved when Rossi used to race. There used to always be flares, especially at this track. That curtain's in the way. Especially when, yeah, but Rossi was there. The flares used to be completely yellow. You couldn't actually see some of the corners upper in the track with the yellow flares going on. After Rossi retired, they kind of disappeared a bit. Aprilia have never won Italian Grand Prix. Yeah, they haven't. You have to remember, Aprilia have only come good in the last few years. They were in MotoGP in like the late 90s, early 2000s, but they weren't really anything in it. They were actually running a 250, a modified 250, which was lighter when the others used to run 500cc's. And then he went away for a few years, then they came back in like 2014, 2015 as a back marker, effectively, and took a while to build up. But then it's really the last 5-6 years they've come forward. And I think 2023 onwards, they became, you'd expected Aprilia in the top 10. 2020, really only last year, is when Aprilia were like they're the favourites. With Bezzecchi on as well, with the favourites. Bezzecchi is currently leading Martin by 12 points in the standings. Oh, Kimi Antonelli's there. What a fun Series E races in called Formula 1. We're not mentioning batteries at all. We're banning that right now. Now here comes the fun part of seeing how well timed the sync is. As you may know, I hate doing this because it just doesn't make sense to do as they're lining up to the grid right now. If you see the dots move before I commentate move, just act like you never saw it. You know the plan by now, especially if you've been here before. We all know the plan. The timing schedule is awful. The timing page, is absolutely awful. But the riders are lining up. We now have the front row. They're all Aprilia front row. I do love the Trackhouse Aprilia with that Golf livery. I think it is, at the minute, the best looking bike this weekend. I don't think it's going to be a one-off livery, to be honest. I think they're going to do more. Ducati are running a livery as well. But we're waiting for the gorgeous green flag at the back, which we have right now. The dots aren't moving, which is scary that they're not moving. But the revs are up, the lights are on. We're waiting for lights out now. The launch, Marquez did not get the same launch as yesterday, but Bezzecchi did get a very good launch on the inside. Fernandez is covering Jorge Martin as well. Oh, the dots are moving. That's quite good timing, actually. Bezzecchi's going to lead it to turn one, definitely. Jorge Martin's going to move up to second place. I can't see where Mark is for all the smoke. Mark might be around the outside of turn 4. Ralph Fernandez gone well wide. Fernandez well wide at turn 1. He's dropped right down the order. Is that a problem? But then Martin's going to lead. Mark's into third. Somehow Martin's leading Bezzecchi, and Bagnaia might be third, actually, if Mark in fourth. I can't tell who's who with that new weird Ducati livery. I think it's Mark in third, but I'll have to double check that. Fernandez is dropped right down the order to 18th place. And don't know what he got there. Bezzecchi down the inside of Martin at turn 4. Techniques and Aprilia battle. Now this could be interesting if this gets tasty. But it's Bezzecchi now leading Martin, leading Bagnaia, leading Marquez. Foaming out to go 5th. Pedro Acosta up to 6th. DiGi Antonio also said needs a good start to fight for the lead this weekend. Or today, and not what he did yesterday, has dropped down to 12. So Fernandez and DiGi Antonio are the big losers on lap 1. Mark and Bagnaia have swapped helmet colours, I've just noticed, and this is quite confusing to see who's who, because I'm so used to Mark having the red helmet. But it's different today. Bagnaia is up to 3rd, so we've got 2 factory Aprilias, 2 factory Ducatis, and Fermin Aldeguer on the satellite Grassini Ducati. Coming back down the hill now. Bezzecchi, I thought was going defence, then Martin's not going to have a look into that corner. Crowd cuts their watch, he's still on the bike, he's still up, but he is last. My OneDrive's trying to go away OneDrive, I'm not interested right now in you. Oh, what are these dots doing? See what I mean by these dots? Honestly, they're a pain. They really are a pain in my backside. Acosta just dropped 6th place. Someone dropped down. I think it's Brad Binner dropped a couple of places. We come through this far chicane now onto the main backstretch before the last corner. Bezzecchi leading Jorge Martin just about. We've gone to the last corner now. This is where Bezzecchi loved making his overtakes. Martin's not going to be able to do it there. Bezzecchi is arguably the best into this last corner. I'm going to try to pause and play at a time onto the run. But Martin's got a great run. This is my favourite part of this track. Coming out of the last corner now in the opening lap into the main straight. Right ahead of us down. The bike's going 210, 220 miles an hour. Martin is in the slipstream with Bezzecchi now coming over the line. He's going to make a move into turn 1. He has to make a move. Bezzecchi's gone defensive, but Martin's going to try it still. That's fast. That's 225 miles an hour. The leg's standing out of Pav. I know you're laughing. The leg's coming out. Martin is not going to stop that Aprilia. There's no chance he's stopping. No, he's gone well. He's dropped down to 2nd, 3rd, maybe 4th. No, he switched in between the two Ducatis. That was close actually for Martin to stay on the bike, but he was never going to stop that. He got sucked in fully into Bezzecchi's slipstream. Look at them legs, and it makes me laugh now that he pinches it every time. But now we have a mixture. We've got Bezzecchi, Bagnaia, Martin, Marquez top 4. Pedro Acosta up to 5th on the KTM. He should be nowhere near that position on the KTM. I'll just say that now. Absolutely nowhere near that. Coming back down the hill now, we're going to see what happens with Fermin Aldeguer is actually incredible. Let's remember, Fermin Aldeguer does have a broken leg, so he is racing with effectively one leg, and he's in 6th place. I agree with that a good start as well. Fernandez fluffed it. Yeah, I'm surprised he did that time. Considering how dominant he was yesterday, I'm surprised he went that aggressive into turn 1. He should have known he can follow. He's able to follow. He has the pace based on yesterday to follow. Bagnaia's got a great line coming out of Arabiata 2 onto Bezzecchi, but it's his best rate. He's not going to make a move into that corner. They'll both go down. I did predict a crash there yesterday following Bastianini, and he did drop it. Wouldn't surprise me, sorry, if it happens again today. But Bagnaia's lining up Bezzecchi. The Ducatis look good. I expect Mark to drop off as the laps go on because of his fitness and the state of his shoulder right now. But the one to watch is going to be Pecco Bagnaia. Is he going to make a move into Bezzecchi into the last corner or wait until the main straight? You'd think it'd be the last straight. As Raul Fernandez is up to 14th now, I've just spotted. Cal Crutchlow's still on the bike. Scott, I know you're watching what Crutchlow's doing. Coming to the last corner, Bagnaia is not going to make the move into the last corner, but he's going to look for the run onto the main straight. Here comes my favourite part again. Watch these bikes click on at 220 miles an hour now. It takes some balls to do this on these bikes down this straight. Up the hill they go, right out of us down. Mark is not the slipstream of Martin, but it's going to be Bagnaia on Marco Bezzecchi over the line now. We're going to see Bezzecchi's got the inside line. Bernard's around the outside line, over the hill, down back the hill, under braking. Out come the legs again with the dangle. If Bagnaia stops that, I'll be impressed. He had a big slide. He's going to go wide. But they're all going wide. Mark's gone wide as well, and Pedro Acosta's going to go on the inside there on Mark. Acosta, Mark side by side into turn 3. Bagnaia did keep the lead. Mark's going to bully Acosta out of turn 2. It's perfect for Mark. He had to recover from a bad turn 1. That's where he struggled yesterday. You have to think that's where his shoulder's really kicking in on that right-hander. Look at Pecco's speed. Pecco is fast right now. I'm amazed he stopped that bike into turn 1 now. I did think he's going to go straight on because you saw the bike kick under braking. But Pecco, this is what Pecco used to do. For anyone new to MotoGP, this is how Pecco used to ride. He used to be the most aggressive, or one of the most aggressive on the brake, and control the bike and not drop the front. But we haven't seen it for a good year and a half now with Pecco Bagnaia. But he looks good this weekend like he did last weekend. But he leads now the factory Aprilias. Remember, this is a Ducati. It was a Ducati Fortress. They've won the last 5 races or something like that. Pecco winning 2 of those 5, maybe even 3. You might have won 3 on the bounce, actually, Pecco. So this is the track he's going to be good at. You have to remember, these Italian riders also test at this track. They've done more laps than any other rider, so this is their home race. Mark is now under pressure again from Pedro Acosta. Wouldn't surprise me if this move is done quite quickly and gone on to the next lap into turn 1, because Mark yesterday he said he was riding at a controlled pace where he had some sort of speed, but he didn't want to push it. He wants to get to the end of the race and maintain that shoulder strength. Oh, Martin, a big wobble coming into that chicane now. That's going to be... I don't know how they do it. I don't know how they have a wobble like that at that speed and just put the throttle back on. Bezzecchi's going to have a slipstream now coming into the last corner, coming out of the last corner on Pecco Bagnaia himself. Is he going to be close enough? Because Bagnaia looks fast into turn 1. That must have been 226 plus miles per hour last lap. They come round again. We got the speedometer. Ready? 220, 230, 240, 250, 260, 270, 290, 310. This is kilometers an hour. 330, 340, 350. We're going to go to 360 into someone. No, 356 for Marquez. Now, that's the only reason why it's only 356. He didn't have a direct slipstream. But 356 kilometers an hour. I don't know what that is in miles an hour. Dad, I know you can convert that. So let me know what that is. Oh no, 358. There we go. 358 kilometers an hour. We hit down into turn 1. Imagine doing that on a bike, and then you got to stick your body out on brake. Unbelievable. But Bezzecchi couldn't get near Bagnaia. That's Bagnaia at the minute is controlling the pace, but Bezzecchi stayed in 2nd, Martin 3rd. Nothing happening that lap round. Aldeguer is staying with Pedro Acosta as well as we go into the middle sector. But Pedro Acosta, he has no right being there on that KTM. Absolutely no right. We can see Bastianini is in 8th on the Tech 3 KTM. This is a strong fight from Bastianini. Fernandez has come up to 13th, but I want to see a replay of what he did at turn 1, because he must be fuming. Oh, actually, I said that. Thank you. Here's the replay. They come over the hill. Where's Fernandez? Fernandez is on his own, under braking. Oh, he got very close to the back of Bezzecchi's rear wheel going under brake. I think he got sucked in. Yeah, he went in too deep, got sucked in by Bezzecchi. That was actually on Fernandez. Yes, he got sucked in, but he went in too deep in general and fluffed his whole qualifying and fluffed his whole weekend for there. So he is now down in 12th place. He's just got Alex Rins. Oh, Yamaha watch, by the way. The stinky Yamahas. Alex Rins is up to 13th place now. I say up to, he was 12th, down to 13th. But he's the only Yamaha at the minute scoring a point. I don't quite know how to make that sound kinder, that there's one Yamaha. There's 4 on the grid. One of them is scoring points. Crowd Crutchlow watch. He's still on the bike. He's back here. He must feel like a bus has hit him right now. Going back around the last corner on the lap to end lap 4 onto lap 5, Pedro Acosta's got another beautiful run on Marc Marquez. They're doing the ride height devices early onto this straight. I thought it'd be later on. That's why every now and then you see the chassis on the bodywork scraping on the floor causing smoke. But Pedro Acosta's got the slipstream on Marc Marquez. That KTM is not quick in a straight line, so he's going to have to do it on the brakes if he wants to. Marc's leg is hanging off as he goes down to the braking for turn 1. Acosta's too close, but is Marc going to stop the back? No, Marc's wide again. Marc wide again in turn 1. He's going to have to leave room for Acosta going side by side to turn 2. Acosta on grass there. Marc can cover it into turn 2. It's a left-hander, but Acosta, it's not going to be long before he gets in. Marc, just like yesterday, is struggling to stop the Ducati into turn 1. And again, that has to be down to his shoulder strength. But this is one of the most physical tracks for these riders throughout the whole Canada this year, so I'm not surprised he stays ahead of Acosta now, but I wouldn't be surprised if this doesn't last much longer as we go on to lap 5. Did Antonio watch? He did drop down, where was he? 12th, 13th lap on, he's up to 8th, which shows, again, he has the pace at the front, but again, he fluffed it from the start. He was controlled Friday, controlled Saturday morning, but he messed up qualifying, which was his fault. He got an okay start yesterday, but not quick enough to catch the Aprilias, and that's the problem now in MotoGP. If you have good pace, but you mess the start up and you're not with the leaders when they break away, you're not going to have a chance because the pace is so similar now in the races. Where's my screen doing this? Go away on my phone. Don't want that. Did I miss anything looking at my phone? No, I didn't. Is it going to follow? Now, the thing is, it's a long race, 23 laps. It's got another 18 laps to go, or 19 laps to go. That's what this screen says. Riders now will start to maintain their tyres, then start to maintain also their stamina, because they need stamina to do this whole race. As I say, it's the most physical track on the calendar in nearly 30 degrees temperature, 30 degrees Celsius temperature. So imagine how hot it is on the bike when you're following another bike as well. I don't see Pecco holding this lead for too long. I think Bezzecchi, the last 2 laps, has just been sitting there. You don't need to push and make the gap right now, but I kind of agree with you. I think Bezzecchi will make the move sooner rather than later. Not this lap. Look at the speed they go down this straight, though. It's staggering what they do. I also like how when the straight comes right a bit, so you're coming straight down there, but it kinks right just after the line. I like how they've done it for years. They use that pit exit paint just to try and straight line the braking because it's on a curve like this, and I like the fact that they do that. It's smart from the riders, but they all do it. I remember the first ones started doing it about 10 years ago, I think, and now they all do it. It's part of the routine now, this straight. Not track limits, of course, because we don't want to hear track limits. It's pit exit, get over it. Marc is still ahead of Pedro Acosta going onto this lap. We didn't see what happened in turn 1, but he's got a little Marc Marquez train now, Acosta and Aldeguer behind him. Both Spanish riders behind him probably racing their idol right now and Acosta is very public saying he wants to race Marquez for wins. He's the target he wants to beat in his career, and he's about to overtake him soon. You can see that the gap between Martin and Marquez is 1.3 seconds, and Marc does not have the pace, but I don't think he's going to try and have the pace. He knows he just wants to make the end. He knows, yes, I think he predicted his pace is around 8th place, so he's not going to stay much longer. You can see Acosta's being held up here. If I was Acosta, you got to make the move, surprise him. It's not going to be down straight into turn 1. Surprise him now to the right hand down the hill. You might lose the front there, though. He's decided against it. Don't blame him for that. This is where Bastianini crashed yesterday. Cal Crutchlow watch. He's still on the bike, Scott. I know it's all you're watching here for Cal Crutchlow. He's still going around at the back. Diego Moreira is an interesting one. Get Ogura involved in that. Ogura needs to, actually. It's Ogura again. He'll have the pace again the last 10 laps. In the sprint race, he was slow in the first half. He was slow in qualifying as well. He didn't even make Q2 in qualifying, actually. He qualified 13th. He'll have pace at the end. You can see he's just hanging on the back of this half a second. He will be. The more they're stuck behind Marc, there will be. Pedro Acosta down the inside of Marquez into the last corner. Marc left him so much room there. He knew that was going to happen. But now I predict what's going to happen. Let's see what's right. Marc's going to come out in the back straight. He's going to get the slipstream into turn 1. Can he now stop Ducati with the slipstream with the KTM? Probably not. But look at the speed between the Ducati and the KTM. That was a bit on exit as Acosta was a bit wide coming out the last corner. But Marc got him way before the line was done. Coming into braking down to turn 1. Can Marc stop the Ducati? He's going to run wide. He doesn't look like he's trying to make the apex. No, he's ran wide again. But not enough Acosta, because again Acosta got sucked in and followed him. But Marc really is holding them up now purely because he doesn't want to push. He doesn't want to go to levels they're willing to push at, and he's not even trying to make the apex of turn 1. Why would you when you have one shoulder and 7 surgeries on the other shoulder? He wants to repair that fully before pushing to his absolute limit. But he's still ahead of Pedro Acosta. Pedro Acosta has to surprise Marquez if he wants that 4th place. They're not going to catch the Aprilias. Martin is not catching Bezzecchi and Bagnaia. which is what I said this before the race, is what I feared would happen because of how similar all their pace is. You're gonna have to do well to close that gap. Actually, when this pace, I can't see the lap times because again, this timing system is frankly dreadful. I can't see the lap times on having the track map up, but I'm gonna stop complaining about the thing, even though I pay for it. But I imagine Bagnaia, Bezzecchi, and Martin doing the same. Pedro Acosta down the inside where I said last lap he should try Marquez. If he holds the front, he's going to bump Marquez wise. Asking about Aldeguer, but Acosta's got the move. Aldeguer around the outside of the left hand on the flip-flop. Surely not. Mark will leave him room, but Aldeguer's going to line him up to turn one now. I said Acosta last lap needs to surprise Mark at that right-hander. Coming back, Aprilia 2, if you see my mouse, this right-hander right here, you come out for Aprilia 2 over the blind hill. You need to make the move here to surprise him. Acosta done that, and now I expect you'll see he'll pull away from Mark, and Aldeguer will be next to get Marc Marquez. Good move from Acosta. Of course, Marquez lent on him a bit. You don't let the person down the inside there. You have to lean on them. Acosta was happy to push Mark wide slightly. What you need to do in racing in this situation. Aldeguer's now going to line up Marc Marquez. Maybe get him in. Oh, Mark at the moment at the rear. That advice. Aldeguer down the inside last corner. He's already got the move done. As Mark's rear, the Ducati was sliding Mark down to 6th. Aldeguer up to 5th. There's now a two-way slipstream, both from Pedro Acosta. Acosta not going to have a chance down this straight. We're going to be 3 wide over braking. This is impressive. 3 wide over the hill, 220 miles an hour. Mark has got both of them. He's not going to start the Ducati for turn 1, though, I guarantee. Can't see what's happening. He's gone wide. He's gone wide, but he holds it. Mark actually came back ahead of both of them, so back in the order as well last lap. Aldeguer down the inside of Acosta in turn 2. Remember, Aldeguer and Acosta do not like each other. They grew up with each other. They grew up racing with each other. Since they were kids, they do not like each other. But Mark, even though he lost both positions coming onto that main straight, got them both back down the main straight as well into turn 1, kept the braking, ran a little bit wide, but, you know, it is what it is. Good shit, this. I know this is MotoGP, Pav, mate. You know this by now. I'm amazed Mark actually held that. I thought it was going to run so wide, but as soon as they both got on Acosta's slipstream, Acosta didn't stand a chance. That KTM has no chance. If there's Ducati to especially slipstream, here is DiGi still in 8th place. He's got to close that gap to Ogura. He has got it to 7 tenths, but Ogura has now joined that fight with Marquez, Aldeguer, and Acosta. So watch Ogura come through now, especially the last half of the race. Bagnaia has pulled a gap to Bezzecchi now, which is interesting. I thought the previous had a bit more. But is Aldeguer going to make with Marquez like Acosta did? No, they're going to wait till the main straight. Acosta was a sitting dog, as I was saying, down that main straight. He didn't have a chance. As soon as you had Aldeguer go to the left of him, Marquez to the right of him, you had 3 wide, centimetres away from each other at 220 mile an hour on the brakes. It's the most impressive series on the planet. Track race, that is. We're not going to include. Oh, Aldeguer's well wide in the right hand, well wide from Aldeguer. Acosta does make the move through, so Acosta now back behind Marc Marquez in 5th. Don't know what happened to Aldeguer there. Maybe got sucked in by Marquez and had to kind of lift off the brake and go wide. He stays ahead of Ogura, but Acosta back to 5th now as he goes into the last corner again for once again that long main straight, that 220 mile push down the main straight. They're all wide. They're all wide now, trying to get the run. Marquez is sliding again at the rear, Jack Ducati. Again, I don't know if that's to strengthen his arms, shoulder, or the grip of that Ducati, but we're forward. None of them are close enough to make a move there, but look at the speed down this straight. I could watch this all day, the bikes go down this straight, coming out the last corner. Ogura is there now. He is there now indeed. He's going to make moves soon. He'll be in the corners, though. Are they any of them going to run wide at turn 1? That's what we're waiting for. I expect all to. Ogura and Aldeguer was actually the widest. Acosta completely wasted on the KTM. He is agreed. We all know that. We need Acosta on the red bike being Mark's teammate, which is ironic because Mark's teammate is currently winning. Welcome to motorsport, and that's funny how it works like that. Oh, I can see the lap times. But Pecco at 46.2, Bezzecchi at 46.3, Martin 46.1. That's the problem I said. They're all going to have the same pace. And to overtake, you need to have at least a couple pace advantage on your rival. They don't have that right now. I think that I expect Pecco Bagnaia to kind of drop off as the laps go on, I have to be honest. I do still think Bezzecchi is sitting there. We've seen it many times this season where Bezzecchi can just sit there and attack towards the end. And we've seen Bezzecchi leave from the front. We've also seen Pecco Bagnaia drop off massively as the laps go on, as he struggles with the front. I think it's the front grip he's struggling with. The Mark's currently struggling with the rear grip and obviously his right shoulder. DiGi just got 4 tenths behind Ogura, so he's now joined that fight, the Marc Marquez train. We used to have, I say it all the time, we used to have the Truly train in F1, and now we've got the Marc Marquez train in MotoGP. You got Acosta 2 tenths, Aldeguer 3 tenths, Ogura 2 tenths, DiGi now 5 tenths, but he will be joined back once again to 4 tenths and below as we go on to the main straight now. I think Bezzecchi's just slowly closing in on Pecco Bagnaia this lap round. Not going to be close enough to make, unless Bagnaia makes a mistake in the last corner. Also, for anyone watching the actual race as well on their own screen, I don't like the livery Ducati have done. They're celebrating 100 years of something. I don't like it. I think it's ugly. Give me the... Ducati shouldn't touch the liveries. Give me the red and give me the white and leave it like that. I don't like what they've done, especially in Italy. I don't understand why them and Ferrari now do that change where they don't use red in their home races. I think it's horrible. Give me the red. Anyway, that's that run done. Down the main straight, Bezzecchi cannot make a move. He is still 2 tenths behind. Martin's 1.1 behind now, so they've actually pulled away from Martin. That Pecco Bagnaia is a bit wide in turn 1. Bezzecchi will close the gap there, but he'll have a nice run, Bagnaia, actually, from that, out of 1 into 2. Bezzecchi, I think, stalking him. Anyone make a move in the Marquez train? No. Marquez, Acosta, Aldeguer, Ogura, DiGi, Antonio, still no moves there. Raul Fernandez has improved up to 10th place after he dropped to 15th on lap 1. Cal Crutchlow, watch, he's still on the bike. He's still on the bike. Cal Crutchlow has not made an appearance yet. I bet he's knackered. I bet he's absolutely shattered. I want to breathe now. Thank you. It's 10 laps now. I'm going to have a... while they're doing these next 2 corners, I'm going to have a breath. Because I do fear, this is the part I did worry about before the race started when I said I fear there's going to be a lull in the race where they match your pace. And Bezzecchi to me, I said it before, I'll say it again, Bezzecchi to me is just sitting there, he's just stalking him. Gigi Dall'Igna knows that, look at his face. Dall'Igna knows Bezzecchi stalking him. This is Aprilia's race, I do believe. I don't think, if Bezzecchi makes the move, I can't see how Pecco can respond. I really can't, because Bezzecchi's comfortable that close from him. And they pulled away from Martin, and they're so far ahead. They're 3.5 seconds that he had a Mark in 4th. God, how I want Mark to be competitive again. But he's still in 4th, still on the bike. Pecco can respond by falling off the bike. There's a chance. You know, with Pecco nowadays, there is a chance that can happen, or will happen. We'll have to wait and see. But I think Bezzecchi, if the move's going to happen, it's going to be the next 2 laps. Next 2 or 3 laps. He's much closer to Pecco Bagnaia now going into the last corner as he's been before. Watch this slipstream he's going to have now coming out the last corner into the main straight. They're going to put the run out of us. I'm ready for the kilometres now. A speed difference. Give me 270. There he is. 280, 290, 300, 310, 320, 330. He's in the slipstream. 340. We're going to reach 350 easily. Give me 360. No, 352. He actually backed off towards the end. He backed off over the hill. That's interesting. You don't see that. You don't see them do that often with the electronics they have now. Bagnaia's going. It's clearly a favourite apex for that Bagnaia to go wide and kind of V or do a V shape in that opening corner to get the late apex. He's done that the last 5-6 laps I've seen us. Maybe that's his line in general. But Bezzecchi stays in 2nd. They're holding the gap to Martin, who's holding the gap or increasing the gap to Marquez for 4th. Yet again, there's no one overtaking Marquez. We have a yellow flag. Who's binned it? Who's binned it? Whose name dropped down? Whose name dropped down? Alex Rins. The Mark Marquez train, words never think you'd hear. Yeah, but when he's got one shoulder and he's had surgery 2 weeks ago, it's not a surprise. Alex Rins has binned it. The only Yamaha was kind of... Oh, that's promoted the other Yamaha. Jack Miller's to the points. There we go. So the Yamaha in the points has now been replaced by the other Yamaha. Turn 1 crash, the usual. Lost the front mid-corner at turn 1. The bike's flipping in the gravel. That's Alex Rins out the race. That promotes Cal Crutchlow into 21st. Jack Miller is another Yamaha in the points. Fabio Quartararo is behind him. Top Rack 18th. I know. Scott, I bet he's struggling, don't you think? Raul Fernandez, I think, has just got Bastianini as well. Is that Brad Binder behind him? Let me see. No, he's got Bastianini as well there. It's a good move for Raul Fernandez. Back into top 10 now, into 9th. As Bastianini doesn't quite have the pace yesterday, though. I don't know why I said that, because he dropped it yesterday, didn't he, in front of Acosta. So he's down to 10th place. Bastianini up to 9th. He's going to chase DiGi Antonio. The gap is 1.4 to DiGi. Now, he can close that purely because of the pace of the guys in front stuck behind Marquez. That's why he can close the gap. And watch, he will close that gap. Maverick 19th. Let's go. That's around usual for Vinales now, although it's his 2nd race back since he missed all those races with, again, a similar problem to what Mark has, where the bolt was loose in his shoulder, so you can't really blame him for that. How long before Top Rack goes back to Superbikes? I don't think he can now. I think he's locked into yes to make MotoGP work. I thought that was Fernandez on Digito. I thought he made a mistake, but DiGi Antonio has now caught Ogura. Ogura's not made the moves I thought he did, as somehow Mark and Acosta have actually pulled a gap slightly out to Fermin Aldeguer of 0.8 of a second. That was 0.2 to 0.3. So I don't know if Mark has been sitting there casually just trying to buy this time and now he's going to pull away with Acosta. That's quite impressive. They've definitely pulled a gap to Aldeguer though, and DiGi Antonio has caught up the back of Raul Fernandez. Not going the way not going the way that the leaders yesterday wanted this race to go, unless you're Bagnaia or the factory Aprilias. Yeah, you can see as they come down. Crutchlow's entered the pits. Scott Crutchlow's entered the pits. I don't know what's happened there, but his day might be done. We might see the end of Cal Crutchlow. His day might be done. I don't know why he's entered the pits. He is no longer on the track, so Pirro is now the last rider running. You can see coming down the middle sector, down the hill. There's Cal. I think he's broke down. Oh, they just said in the commentary that Crutchlow might be getting arm pump. He said that yesterday. Someone's dropped it. I think it's Bastianini again has dropped it. Has he dropped it in the same corner as yesterday? It might be the same corner as yesterday based on that runoff. It really might be. Yeah, again, if he's dropped it the same way where the rear's been sliding on the braking and he drops the front, that's poor from Bastianini to have two of the same crashes in two different races. Yeah, and again, I bet it's the same corner. Going to the leaders now. Bezzecchi's right behind Bagnaia coming onto this main straight. I think he's just too far away to make a move for the lead, but he's just eyeing him up now. I can't see Bagnaia holding this much longer. Bezzecchi's in the slipstream. This is going to be 220 miles an hour plus. Look at the braking. Watch the leg come out. There they go, both dangling. But Bagnaia, that's old school Bagnaia braking. His bike is moving on the front. We said yesterday he's there to test and not crash. That's true. The commentators I just heard say that he said to one of them yesterday he's been getting arm pump, which isn't a surprise. If you don't ride, especially race these bikes often, you're gonna get arm pump. For anyone who doesn't know what arm pump is when it comes to bike racing or bike riding, it's where your forearm kind of, and especially in your just below your wrist area, starts to go numb every time you're using it because the muscles you're using aren't used to it, and effectively it blocks. The best way of saying it, imagine it blocks up. So when you're doing this, you can't feel it. Welcome to arm pump. All the riders would have surgery over time to reduce the arm pump possibilities. Not surprised Crutchlow got it, but Crutchlow is out the race now. Look at Arietta 1 and 2, the two of the best corners. Arm pump 101. See, I've heard the saying so many times. Every rider has it. Arietta 1 and 2 are probably two of the best corners on the calendar as they come right in third gear up to fourth, up the hill in the blind apex. Love that corner. Bezzecchi is just stalking Bagnaia. I cannot see this being actual Bezzecchi's pace. If he gets in front of Bagnaia, if Bagnaia doesn't respond the next corner, Bezzecchi will go in the lead, I think. Or not go in the lead, he will be in the lead. Bezzecchi will pull away. As Martin is slowly closing on them, the gap is 9/10 of a second, but I don't think he can make much more of an indent with the pace Bagnaia and Bezzecchi are leading, but they're pulling away from Mark 3.6. Mark is still ahead of his train. And actually, Marquez and Acosta have pulled the gap to Aldeguer to 1 second. So either they're losing pace at Aldeguer onwards, or Mark has actually been biding his time and is pulling away with Acosta going with him. How Pedro Acosta is going with him in 5th place on that dog of a KTM, don't know. Don't ask me that question. I've got no idea. He's too good for that bike. Back onto the main straight. Bezzecchi's a lot closer to Bagnaia now. He's going to have a perfect slipstream over the line now. 220 miles an hour again. Bezzecchi. Bagnaia's going to pull defensive. Maybe Bezzecchi might be able to move on the brakes now. You get down the inside goes Bezzecchi. He's going to have to make it. He's too close not to. Bezzecchi down the inside. He's doing a late move on Bezzecchi. They're both going to run wide, surely. Bagnaia's going to have to leave him room. That's actually an easy move for Bezzecchi. In the end, he does take the lead. I can't see Bagnaia responding. Surely Bez will get him there. Yeah, he had to. As soon as they went over the line, Bezzecchi slightly hinted to going to the inside, but I couldn't do anything about it. Ogura's now got for me now Aldeguer, so maybe Aldeguer struggling with pace, or again maybe it's his leg with his injury, don't know, but they've definitely lost more time to Marquez and Acosta, but you can see that he's already put 2 or 3 bike lengths between Bezzecchi and Bagnaia, so Bezzecchi's now got to check out. Bagnaia's now got to hold on from Martin, because watch Martin now eating to that gap. It's already down to just within 0.8 of a second. Bezzecchi's done. Bezzecchi's gone. The only way Bezzecchi doesn't win this race now is a mistake from his own. There's the move down over the painted line. You can see Bagnaia actually let him. Bagnaia did not want to fire that at all. He actually, look how wide he runs to let Bezzecchi through. Would have liked to see a bit more of a fight from Pecco there, but at the same time he hasn't been up this competitive for a very long time, so he doesn't want to have an incident. But Pedro Acosta is on the rear wheel of Marquez now, Beata 2. He's going to make the move into the right-hander, surely going to make the move. No, he can't. He can't outbrake Mark into that corner. He cannot outbrake Mark at all. Mark with that one shoulder is still one of the latest breakers, but you see Mark is struggling visibly. He's wide on every apex. Mark is now, I guarantee, knackered. He's counting down the laps. I don't think he'll leave it. He won't be bothered if Acosta passes him. And he's probably surprised, saying, why the hell am I still in fourth? What are you lot doing behind me? But Acosta seems to be stuck behind him because the KTM, even with the slipstream, the Ducati doesn't have good top speed. And when it does, it breaks down. Oh, someone's dropped it. I think Miller's just dropped down a few positions. So Miller was the one in the points. He's now down to 17th. Pedro Acosta into the last corner of Marc Marquez now. I don't think that's a smart move. Pedro Acosta's going to run wide, and Mark's going to get the run, undercut him, and going into the main straight now. It's beautiful for Marquez. Odd move from Acosta. I think that's frustration, because now Acosta's got to get the slipstream on Marc Marquez down the main straight as we start lap 16, end lap 15. Acosta's not close enough. That was a very, very odd move from Acosta to try and make the move into the last corner. He ran wide, and Marquez got the undercut back underneath and got him in the main straight. Or before the main straight, they exit the last corner. So very odd from Acosta. I think he's going to get frustrated now. So if he doesn't get Marquez, he probably will drop the front out of anger that he's stuck. And now the problem with Acosta is Ogura has passed Aldeguer and he's already closed the gap from 1 second to 0.7 of a second. What happened to Pecco Martin 3 tenths behind? I guarantee nothing happened to Pecco. I guarantee this is his pace. I think the Aprilias have just been holding it the whole time. Bezzecchi passing Bezzecchi was also Martin's give. Marquez is wide again at that left-hander. You can see he's knackered on the bike. He cannot lean as he wants to. Pecco being Pecco. Yeah, this is what I said. As soon as Bezzecchi gets in the lead, the Aprilias are just going to swamp him. Absolutely, and the same I think is going to happen as soon as Acosta gets Mark. Although Acosta's got to be careful because he's clearly struggling to outbrake Marquez despite Mark not being able to hit any apex whatsoever. He's wide again in Aprilia 1. We'll be surprised. Want to see if he's like in the chicane coming back down the hill. Aprilia 2 will make the apex off because look at the speed difference. Acosta's got so much more confidence in Aprilia 2. He's too far away to make a move into this right-hander. But can Mark now make the apex of the left-hander? They changed the camera onto the onboard, but Mark again is slightly wide over the curve, so Acosta's hitting every apex. Mark is not, but he still can't get ahead of him. The gap between Pecco Bagnaia and Martin is 2 tenths. I said it would happen. He's also Bezzecchi's pulled 1.2 on Bagnaia. I said it would happen. This is why I was like 10 laps ago or 7 laps ago, whatever it was. The Aprilias are just sitting there. They're just watching what Bagnaia does, and it will be an Aprilia 1-2. I imagine Martin's going to get Pecco Bagnaia going into the main straight into turn 1 as we start lap 16. But Acosta's again got down the inside of Marquez into the last corner. He tried it last lap, but he's done that perfectly now. He learned what he did wrong last lap. He didn't give Marquez a chance. He stood him up under braking, not got the move done before to give Marquez a chance. Back at the front, Martin's going to get Pecco Bagnaia down the main straight and the slips in 220 miles an hour into turn 1. Bagnaia's braking late. Martin's got to sit him up. This is a late one from Martin. He's got to sit Bagnaia up. Bagnaia's again gave him. Bagnaia doesn't want to fight them. Bagnaia doesn't want to fight them. He knows that. As Acosta's got to defend from Mark, I don't think Mark wanted to attack Acosta. I think that's just the speed of that KTM down the straight compared to the Ducati. I think Mark's happy to sit in 5th. He will now get swamped by Ogura and DiGi and maybe Aldeguer. Marquez just hasn't got the pace, I don't think. But he's done well to do 16 laps in his position. What a race. Yeah, I mean, Pecco doesn't want to race them, but it's very rare Pecco's actually competitive in the podium places, and the Aprilia just have, you can see they had the pace on. You can see by the way how close Bezzecchi was following Pecco for that long. And look, as soon as Bezzecchi went, that was also the signal to Martin to then pull the pin. And it did take him 2 laps to get Pecco, so that's going to be that done. It is once again in the factory Aprilia 1-2. They look unstoppable right now. Ralph Fernandez has not been able to make progress since up to 9th. He's close to get up to 1.5, but it's still not enough. We've seen the replay. DiGi has passed out again now into Albriata 2. That's a good move. That's a very good move. He has been strong there through qualifying and practice, DiGi, and he will close on Ogura now. As Marquez is still keeping with Pedro Acosta. That's surprising to me. But he can't make the right-handers. It's quite painful to watch him. He's fine on the left. He's actually a little bit wide. He's probably knackered. But every right-hander he's running wide and not hitting the apex. I think he's making his own apex at this point. He's going to go wide here again as Moreira drops down to 12. Javan Mir still on the bike. Javan Mir is overtaking for 11th. Stinky Yamaha watch Fabio Quartararo is now the one in 15th, scoring 1 point for Yamaha. Marquez is going to attack Acosta in the main straight. I guarantee he's going to attack Pedro Acosta in the main straight. I did not think that'd happen. I thought they'd drop him. Mark is taking a different line than Acosta into the last corner, a much wider entry to hit that invisible apex mid-corner, but then Acosta's wider on the mid-corner to get the apex at the end to try and get that slipstream and that slingshot onto the main straight. But actually, Marquez has already passed Acosta. He's already passed Acosta before the main straight, before the finish line, so he's already ahead of him. That's the speed of that Ducati compared to the KTM. He's already ahead of him. Acosta's going to try and do him on the brakes. Now, they're side by side. They're both going to go wide. Both going to go wide. Marquez has to sit up to allow Acosta room. Acosta's going to run wide. No, it's actually perfect from Acosta. He's held that, didn't run wide at all. Somehow, Mark was very generous in giving him room to do that. But Acosta did stick the apex, make it down back into 4th place from Acosta. Surprised Mark actually is close enough to make a move considering the physical state of him, but he's got to watch Ogura behind in 6th. I mean, if we're being honest, the lead battle's dead, isn't it? We've got the Aprilia second half ahead of the Aprilia, 1.2 ahead of Ducati. Yeah, the main fight is going to be this group. It's not the Marquez train anymore. If this becomes a Pedro Acosta train, I'll be surprised. But at the same time, not surprised, because Acosta shouldn't be in 4th from that KTM anyway. I will keep saying that. Shouldn't be there at all on that bike, but he is. But he can't pull away from Mark. This is interesting. This also shows, if Ogura or DiGi, especially Digi, if Digi can get through this pack, he will pull away. But he's running out of laps. 5.5 laps, or 6.5, 6 laps really left, let's be honest. 6 laps left. Digi is running out of time to get them. But Mark again can't get the bike back down to that right-hander apex, which means he's wide for the second. That's the horrible thing about a flip-flop chicane. If you're wide on the first, you've messed up the apex for the second one. He's not as close to Acosta as he was last lap, so maybe it's been a cleaner lap by Acosta himself, which might be able to cover the move. But the difference is with the speed of that KTM, can you do enough to cover the slipstream into turn 1 and hold your position? Probably not, as the KTM is a dog. Toprak up to 16th as he's past Jack Miller. We said that earlier on. That's the Superbike champion, by the way, 16th from MotoGP, just to put the things out there. But then again, he is fighting. He is fighting the other Yamahas. He's less than 2 tenths behind Fabio Quartararo, who is the lead Yamaha rider. So he's actually not doing that bad of a job when you put it in that perspective. Down the main straight, and now look at the speed. The speed Marquez has in this slipstream of Acosta. He's a sitting duck. Acosta's a sitting duck down that main straight. Under braking now, Marquez, is he going to run wide? The bike is doing all sorts of shapes. He is going to run wide. Well wide, well wide, well wide. So wide. Acosta also ran wide with him, but Ogura is going to take the position of Mark. You'd imagine. No, Mark's going to cover it into turn 2. Acosta gets the position back. Marquez just cannot stop that bike. Oh my god, I thought Ogura was going to make a move into turn 3. That was going to be a late one on the inside of turn 3, but he backed against it smartly. We're back with Acosta leading Mark, leading Ogura, leading DiGi. Mark is the anomaly here, because clearly you can see he's not actually pushing. I don't think he wants to make the moves into turn 1, but with the speed of that KTM, he's being forced to make the moves. Ogura is laughing under the helmet, probably. But Ogura, also, I imagine, also frustrated that he's stuck behind them. Same with DiGi Antonio. Watch DiGi Antonio, because if he can get Ogura soon, he'll get Mark within the next lap, I imagine, on that Ducati. He's the one to watch in this group, I think. Ogura will have some pace if they get through, but DiGi Antonio, I think, is going to be the catalyst, the cause. You can see Mark's hesitant in Aprilia 2. You can see Ogura, look how much Ogura's closed on him in Aprilia 2. Down the inside, maybe over the hill into the right-hander. Ogura is going to make move on Mark. That's risky. Watch the front of that biker today. He's going to push Mark wide. That's going to invite DiGi Antonio around the outside of the left. Mark's going to settle for that. There's Mark down to 7th place, just like that. Ogura down the inside. I mean, there's a strong move from him, but he has to do it. Push Mark wide. Ogura up to 5th. DiGi Antonio then made up the place for Marquez, who was recovering from running wide, and that's again compromise entry into the left-hander. Mark down to 7th, DiGi 6th, Ogura 5th, Pedro 4th. Now watch what they can do. I think this is going to be ignite. Mark is not going to be able to respond now. I'd be amazed if he does. Now he's in the slipstream with DiGi Antonio, another Ducati. He won't respond. I don't think Mark's mad at that. He said yesterday the pace he's got is probably around 8th. He's currently 7th, so I think he's just going to sit there happily now for the next 5 laps. Solid weekend for Mark himself. He made Q2. He's in the top 10 with one shoulder. No, but he's in the slipstream DiGi Antonio. I don't want to see the speed Mark's about to hit on this Ducati. But Acosta's been able to pull a gap, actually. What is it, 2.5 tenths of a second to Ogura. Mark is right behind DiGi. He's going to make a move into turn 1. I don't know why I underestimate him. I don't think he wants to do. He's going to run wide. Surely he's not going to try and make the apex. But he's actually put DiGi wide while doing that. No, he's made the apex. That's a move from Mark. DiGi's going to go back down the inside turn. That's close. Mark sees him. Mark's going to lean on him. DiGi's going to push Mark wide. Mark will remember that, DiGi. Mark will remember that. DiGi put his foot off the peg, I think, to apologise for pushing Mark wide there. He put Mark on the paint nearly. DiGi ain't having it. Yeah, DiGi's not. This is my problem. Okay, this is my problem with when they're racing Marquez. Now is the opportunity to attack Mark Marquez because he can't respond. If Mark can get even to 80% fitness, he'll remember all these bumps he's getting, all the pushing Mark he's getting, and he will dish it back 10 times harder when he's fit enough, if he can get fit enough to do it. Do not think Mark will forget what DiGi put down there, putting on the paint, and put a foot to apologise. That means a strong move from DiGi. You have to do it. I don't think Mark wants to make the moves into turn 1. I think he wants to sit there, but with the speed of the slipstream down the main straight with that Ducati compared to the ones in front of him, he's kind of being forced to do it, but he'll remember that. Marquez will remember that, and from my perspective, I want him to get back to 100% fitness, so once again he can prove the level he runs at, which is above the levels of other humans. I'm not going to say back at the front, because it's dead at the front. 2.8 between the Aprilias and 1.7 between Martin and Bagnaia. Whoopsie-doo. They are closing to it. Acosta is closing to Bagnaia himself. The gap is down to 2.5. That was 3.5 seconds, remember. Forget the front. Yeah, I don't care about the front. Look at the speed Ogura has on the X. This KTM is a dog out the corners. We're on board with Ogura now coming through the last corner. They're leaning at 61 degrees angle at 112 kilometers an hour. Get the run onto the line. The gap to Bagnaia and Acosta still 2.5 seconds onto the main straight. Ogura's going to have a nice slipstream on Acosta now. Acosta won't be able to respond. That KTM is so slow down that straight. It's painful. Ogura moves to the left. Acosta moves to the right. Ogura on the left gets the move done before the break-in. He's going to cover Acosta on the brakes. Very good from Ogura. The bike is moving all over. They're both going to run wide. Actually, Ogura's much wider. Acosta's going to try to put the front wheel back down. That's going to be close. There's contact. Contact between Ogura and Acosta. There was Davey there coming off. That's the expected contact there. Acosta's got every right to put his bike in that gap. The problem is, from where Ogura is, the way they're leaning, you can't see, and where Acosta is, the way he's leaning, you can't see where Ogura is. Expected contact in the exit always happens every year. I don't know whose debut that was, whether it was on the KTM or whether it was on the Aprilia of Ogura. Again, they'll remember that. Both riders will remember that, especially Acosta will remember that, but you can't blame both the guy for that gap. I think Ogura ran wide. Acosta's got every right to put his bike there. Ogura couldn't see. It looks like DiGi Antonio down the inside of Pedro Acosta and Aprilia. This is what I said he would do. I said DiGi Antonio will wait for the moves to happen, and he'll make his way through to the front. He's already passed Marquez, he's passed Acosta, and I imagine now he'll close the gap on Ogura. Pedro Acosta will not be able to respond. He just doesn't have the pace in that KTM. He won't be able to respond. Now he's got to defend from Mark again down the main straight. Look, he's sliding. Mark again is wide into that right-hander. Mark is really trying to get that Ducati turned in with one shoulder. There's no coincidence, it's always the right hand as he's wide in, which again is the shoulder. He's had problems on the surgery recently to remove the bolt. He is knackered on that bike. Back at the front, Bezzecchi's leaning by 2.8 seconds. Move the camera back to the back behind, I don't care. The front is done. The race is won. Put the camera back. I want to see Ogura and DiGi Antonio. Now, for anyone who says that looked aggressive from Acosta to make that touch into turn 1 happen, you have to remember, look at the shot of that. Bezzecchi's leaning like that at 352 kilometers an hour at that angle. It's almost, that's ridiculous. That is absolutely ridiculous at that angle to go that speed. But you have to remember, when you have two riders leaning like this, the way they lean nowadays, the rider at the front cannot see where the rider on the outside is because you can't look over the bike when you're leaning. It's impossible. So he could not see where Ogura is, and Ogura at the minute is leaning like this. He cannot see here where Acosta is. Going down the main straight now, got the two Hondas, actually 3 Hondas. We've got the factory of Mir, we've got the satellite Honda of Morera, and the factory of Marini. I don't quite know where we've got for the battle of 10th, but okay, that's fine. Camera director, you do what you want. I'm sure you want to give them airtime. That's fine by me. The gap between Marquez and Aldeguer is 3.3, so Mark should have his set now. He's still within 6 tenths of Pedro Acosta, and that price is still there. DiGi Antonio's already closed 4 tenths to Ogura, so that fight's not over at all for that last place for 4th, 5th, and 6th, and 7th. I've been surprised by the lack of incidents. I'm not blaming any of them at all for that. Again, the touch of turn 1. You can't see the other rider there. The Ducati battle. Toprak is leading the Yamaha battle, sorry. Toprak 15th. He's got Fabio Quartararo. Now, this is impressive for Toprak, actually. We've slated him, rah. On the Yamaha, you're not going to do more. He has overtaken Fabio Quartararo, who, frankly, his head is gone from Yamaha. He won't be on the Yamaha next year. He doesn't care anymore about what their team are doing because they can't make the V4 engine. They can't make a bike anymore. But Toprak is the one scoring the main point for Yamaha right now, with him 15th, Fabio 16th, Jack Miller 17th. That's a very good sight for Toprak, actually. They'll give him the confidence he needs, as he's been slow all weekend, but then at the same time, so have the Yamahas. The cameras are still in this battle for 10th. For Bastianini, Mir, Morera, and Marini. You don't quite understand why. But I said that, maybe the cameras had enough on the fight for 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th. Let's change it up a little bit. Oh, yeah, I'm just listening to the commentary there with Gavin Emmett Hodgson saying, we want to see the times of Ogura and DiGi Antonio. The gap is within 4 tenths. Acosta stayed within 4 tenths. DiGi Antonio as well. Marquez has dropped to now 1.1 behind Acosta. So there's the pace of Mark, I think, dropping off. His physical stats, I think, is taken into effect. Fabio has 12 million reasons not to be bothered. Yeah, but he's wasted 5 years of his career. Great decision that was. Someone's well wide. That's Pedro Acosta's well wide at turn 1. So wide. There's the gap and the time he gained on DiGi Antonio the last 2 laps. He's now completely lost that. That's now got to 7 tenths of a second. He's lost over half a second at turn 1. Marquez now has fully backed off. He's got the gap 3.5 seconds to Aldeguer. Marquez is now going to accept 7th place. So it's between what can DiGi and Ogura do. Acosta well late. Oh, that KTM shouldn't be anywhere near it. You say Acosta bottled it. He hasn't, because you can see on the braking how much that KTM's moving. It shouldn't be anywhere near the likes of the top 5. Nowhere near it. The bike is awful. Ralph Fernandez has caught Aldeguer, so I imagine he's going to get him. Aldeguer's pace has gone as well. Again, he's on 1 leg. Honda airtime. Yeah, maybe it's in the contract. You need to show at least half a lap of the Hondas as they fight for 10th. That's great from them. Well done. Factory Honda need the airtime. Yamaha haven't had the airtime. I don't think people are even watching that. The Bezzecchi is more Videlli's on that other Ducati. He's 14th. 7 seconds behind the Hondas who've just got the airtime. But he's still got a MotoGP ride. Which is staggering. I don't understand how. I mean, it's 2 laps to go. It's completely dead at the front. Although, I say that. Ogura is close to Pecco Bagnaia to 1 second. Watch that gap, because I've just seen on the map, Ogura has got from the gap was 3.5 seconds to Pecco Bagnaia. I said his pace to go off. Ralph Fernandez has just now got for me Aldeguer, so can he catch Marquez in time? With the pace of Marquez, probably, because Marquez is going slow as anything right now. He's knackered. Ogura's got the gap to 9 tenths of a second to Pecco Bagnaia. I said Bagnaia's pace will drop as soon as the Aprilias get past. It's exactly what's happened. And DiGi Antonio is going with Ogura. So watch this. The problem is for Ogura, and probably the benefit for Bagnaia, we're starting the last lap now. There's Bagnaia, there's Ogura, there's DiGi Antonio. 2 more laps, I think they'd catch him. 2 more laps, and I think they'd catch his 7.5 tenths. So Ducati's got no pace anymore. They might catch him towards the end of the lap, but I don't think they've got enough speed to make the move. DiGi Antonio following 5 tenths behind Ogura, so he's going to go with Ogura the whole time. Ogura is 7th. It looks smaller than 7 tenths. Now he has 6 tenths of a second. The cameras are on Bezzecchi, who is 3.2 ahead of his teammate. It's going to be in Ducati's fortress over the last 5-6 years. Factory Aprilia, remember, Factory Aprilia and Ducati, they're not the best of friends. Aprilia is going to come to Ducati's home track, their favourite track, and secure a 1-2 for the factory team. That's quite a statement now for where Ducati are in MotoGP and how much they've been caught and regressed while Aprilia have progressed. Ogura is on the back now, nearly a Pecco Bagnaia. That gap is 4 tenths of a second. This is not over at all. Watch Ogura's pace was in. We said he'd have good pace at the end, but again, it might be a lap too late. But Ogura's got all the pace, all the corner speed compared to Bagnaia, who is struggling for grip on entry and what looks like an exit as well. Under braking, he's already clear. That's going to be 3 tenths now, that gap. Watch that gap go down under braking. Bagnaia's wider than right-handed. He's going to compromise his entry for the left. Ogura's going to line him up. Ogura might line him up into the last corner. He has to. He's too far away into the right-handed, but he's on the rear wheel of Pecco Bagnaia. Marco Bezzecchi is going to win the race, though. No one cares about the top 2. They've won it. It's secured. Ogura is going to catch Pecco Bagnaia. Surely, is he going to make the move into the last corner? It has to be. He's going to follow the chicane through. Ogura's got to line him up into the last corner. He has to. This is phenomenal from Ogura. He's done this late on. He's going to make move inside the last corner of Pecco Bagnaia. Here we go. This is where he got it last time. He made the mistake in Catalonia. They go down the inside of Bagnaia. Bagnaia's got to stand the bike up. Ogura is going to run wide. There's going to be a close exit. Bagnaia's going to undercut him coming into the last corner, come the exit. Get the bikes down, lads. Go for throttle. Bezzecchi is going to win. Martin's going to be second. Who is third? Pecco Bagnaia or Ogura? Ogura's in the slipstream down the line. He's going to run out of time. Pecco Bagnaia is going to get third, just ahead of Ogura and DiGi. That's why I love MotoGP. That's absolutely why I love it. Acosta in 6th. Marquez does secure 7th, ahead of Ralph Fernandez in 8th. Firmino to get 9th. Moreira did get Brad Binder for 9th and for 10th. Sorry, Binder dropped to 11th, and the factory Hondas 12th and 13th. I want Toprak. I think Toprak's going to win the Yamaha battle. Kimi Antonelli's waving the checkered flag. I think Toprak did win the Yamaha battle. When in Toprak. That sums up MotoGP. That Ogura had all the pace at the end, and Ducati just cannot do the last laps of a race. They really can't. I think Ogura, he had to make the move into the last corner. Absolutely had to make the move. He had no choice. He wouldn't have got the slipstream. You saw the pace of Ducati down the straight, so he did the right thing to make it. But the problem is he couldn't get the bike, the front end, to kick enough for the invisible apex, and that's why Bagnaia could undercut him. The difference over the line between Bagnaia and Ogura is 0.03 of a second. That's impressive, but it is a factory Aprilia 1-2 in the home of Ducati. This is Bezzecchi's first win at his home race, and Mugello, his Aprilia's first win at Mugello, the Italian Grand Prix. Ogura impressive through the kitchen sink at that at the end. That's Ogura. If he can sort his the thing is, if Ogura can qualify on the Aprilia, he would be fighting at the front with probably third. I mean, I don't think he'd catch the factory Aprilias with the pace they have, but he would be comfortably third if he can sort his qualifying out. The problem is he can't. He can't qualify that Aprilia, hence why he started in 13th. There you go. Marco Bezzecchi, Italian, wins his home race in Mugello for the first time. He wins. Aprilia win their home race in Mugello for the first time. Or their first Aprilia first win at Mugello, as I said earlier on. It is Aprilia's first win on the circuit. Bezzecchi looks to be in some tears. I'm not surprised. They are very emotional, especially here. The factory Aprilia coming to Mugello and putting Ducati to the side like that with a 1-2 as well. Big up Marc Marquez in 7th. He ended up 3.2 seconds behind Acosta in the end, but I'm surprised he's going to be absolutely shattered with the state of that right shoulder. Acosta, an impressive 6th for the KTM team. He shouldn't be anywhere near it. So there's no coincidence. Toprak's been dropped down to 16th. Toprak, 1 position penalty due to exceeding track limits on the last lap. Damn. Miller ended up winning the Yamaha fight. Acosta, Miller 15th, Toprak 16th. Quartararo down in 18th. He got done by Maverick Vinales at the end. His head is completely gone from that team. Completely gone. There's Bezzecchi celebrations. Good race in the end, actually. Not really at the front. But at the same time, I expected the front to be like that with the pace they had. I didn't think Ogura would close that much at the last 3 or 4 laps, but he did. They made the fight. The Ogura, DiGi, Acosta, Marquez battle really made that race what it was. But the front, I expected it. I expected the gaps to be around that. I expected Ogura to come fast at the end. Happened. Again, 1 more lap, he would have got Bagnaia easily. And I think 1 more lap, he would have got Bagnaia, and Bagnaia would have been under big pressure from DiGiantonio himself. So I think the whole top 7 can be proud of their ride there. To be honest, I think Ralph Fernandez is going to be annoyed, finishing 8th after what was a sprint race win and what could have been more. Would have been a podium for Ralph Fernandez. Look at the pace of Ogura, and Fernandez had a few more attempts on him throughout the weekend. Anyway, I have to go to work now, sadly. I squeezed this in. I've now got to run in about the next 10-15 minutes and run to work. So, love you, Stan. Love you, Perth, mate. Thank you. Enjoy work, or I'll try. Anyone who's part of the podcast and part of these streams know how this ends now. This is where I plug, and I hate plug it. This is where I plug everything. What platforms do we have? We have Twitch, Apex Opits Pod. Make sure you follow, subscribe on Twitch. You got Spotify. Yeah, a little bit. Only a little bit, though. Thank you. I'm going to start again. Twitch, we got the Apex Webits Pod on Twitch. Follow that, subscribe for that. We got the Spotify Apex Webits Podcast on Spotify. Podcast will come out on Thursdays now. Thursday or Fridays. I'm going to try Thursdays, but it takes a long time to edit. Thursday or Fridays, you'll see the weekly episodes. We'll stream any weekend. What race next week? Is it Monaco next weekend? We'll stream the Formula 1 Monaco Grand Prix. That's going to be hilarious. Hate Watch. And again, I'm going to call it the Monaco Hate Watch. That's next weekend on Twitch. Do I need to plug anything else? Oh, the YouTube, of course. This stream and the Sprint Race stream will go up on YouTube. On the Apex Webits podcast on YouTube itself. They're not up yet because I've had some internet problems with the PC. They will go up either tonight or tomorrow, both of them. So be sure you follow and subscribe to the YouTube account, YouTube channel. And that's all I'm going to plug now because I'm sweating. I need to leave and go to work. Allez, 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 allez. Also, I'm very glad PSG won. Anyway, I'm going to end the stream now. Bye before Pat can say anything. And I know what Scott's doing as well. Thank you for joining, lads. I'll see you next week for the Monaco Grand Prix and the podcast on Thursday. See you there on Spotify.